House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to House to Home. We normally talk about properties, individual plots of land, but in this case, we are talking about basically the entire island. Gina, one of our beloved realtors, Liz, both from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, Guam, and Gina, you were actually bringing up a news item that we broke and that we covered on KUM.com, talking about the 23 imperiled species, both creatures and plants that are now they've secured critical habitat protection for them. But you've got some concerns about what this might mean for property owners, right?
Yeah, actually, our broker John Duenas was talking to Liz and myself about this last week, and he kind of gave us heads up about it. And then the article came out on Saturday's paper. And Jace, I'm sure you could share that with the audience so that in case they didn't understand the impact, maybe they could read through that article again. And we just wanted to bring up some issues. Last week we participated with a Guam Association of Realtors event where we had the privilege of sharing some airtime with the Lieutenant Governor and other members of the legislature about housing shortages here in Guam and what could be done. And the reason this particular article really stood out for us is this is going to put another hurdle, if not a drastic pause, to what developers and home builders can do on our island. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to bring this up to people's attention. It's like we take one step forward and 5 steps back, I think. When I read this on Saturday, I know John brought it up, but until you really read it and you understand, what the environmental people are trying to do, I don't know if they understand the impact that this creates for people trying to build homes on Guam.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, just to give it some news context, right? It's Blue Ocean Law, like, of course, Attorney Julian Uggan secured that habitat for protection, and now Fish and Wildlife is on the clock, and they have until 2025 to come up and execute, the terms that were laid out in that legal filing and everything. So you're actually concerned, again, what this means for people who already own property and they may have these creatures or plants on premises, or people who may acquire property and, by no fault of their own, the butterflies, the bats, the skinks and everything. Go ahead, Liz.
I mean, I do understand about the protection. However, the impact on our local community is, I think, one of the things we're most concerned about. Now, where our island is small, land, there's limitations with land. And of course, our forefathers are the generation, their intent is to give land, because land for Guam is very important. Now, if you receive land and all of a sudden you are unable to build your home, or let's say pass it on to your kids so that they can build their home, but it's impacted by these environmental issues or laws. Now, the snail issue that Gina brought up is actually all over the island. When we were growing, and now they're considered endangered species, and they happen to be all over the island. And if you had some on your property, you cannot develop it, you cannot sell it, you cannot build on it. Yeah. Until such time, policies and procedures in 3 years from now, 2025, is enacted so that you can know what guidelines to follow in order to deal with your property. Years ago, the endangered species for the snail was a local, it was governed by the local government. Then they pushed it forward. Now it's federally protected. So as a result, the government, when government of Guam was
Liz, we're
Yeah,
completely.
yeah, maybe jump in, Gina, if you can, because I know you share the same feelings and you're aware of the context.
Well, I mean, we completely understand and we promote the protection of, the species. But what we've done is this law has moved forward. And now, unfortunately, what has happened is the regulations in place, but not the policies, not how this is going to take place. And so basically, this is going to affect the development, but because we don't have the guidelines now in place, developers and builders and property owners have to wait until the regulation, the protocol is adopted and put in place. So what happens in the interim? We're at 2022. What happens between now and, according to what I read, they have until June 26, 2025
Right.
to actually adopt the protocol. So this is the protocol, and this is what you can do if you're going to develop your land or build housing.
And again,
And
we're not talking about a particular, like a preserve or like a conservation area and everything like that, because we're talking about island wide, right?
Well, I mean, in our opinion, the snail situation is island wide. Some of the plant species, and then the butterflies, I'm sure you can say it's island wide, but I'm sure these butterflies have a certain area that they prefer to be in. I mean, they don't discriminate. They could land at my property today and tomorrow they'll fly to the next lot. I mean, there is no way to say, you know what, hey, wait, I don't want the snail, you snails don't come to my lot because I would like to build a house here. There's no way for us to give them a memo or protect our property.
You don't speak snail.
No.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm just saying the regulations in place, but not the protocol, not the means to address this.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do between now and 2025? We have a housing shortage. And I had hoped that in our endeavor to protect these, these endangered species, that we perhaps also look at the fact that we have to protect the humans that own these properties. That's my issue in all of this, is who's looking out for the rights of the human beings that own these properties.
And again, Liz, you were saying earlier, we lost you for a couple seconds, but fortunately you're back. You're not just talking about specifically about maybe a 28-story hotel that might go up, or some big commercial property. You're even thinking about property that may be passed down from grandpa to like little Johnny as his first home when he gets married at age 23, and he hasn't really got a lot.
That's right. There's got to be some balance and also mitigation, but not 3 years from now. There's got to be something to speed up the process. So today, if I wanted to build and you're going to tell me I can't touch it, and I'm building it for my grandson or my granddaughter or for myself, you're tying my hands behind my back. And look at the people out there. Like I said, there's a shortage. People want to pass their property on, and as a result, their hands are tied, and it's just totally unfair.
So right now, where you stand as realtors and as brokers, do you see yourself maybe like in limbo right now with this issue, or are you putting out a call to action by saying, okay, let's talk to Fish and Wildlife, let's talk to all the agencies and all the regulatory bodies that have authority over this and everything, and let's figure out a plan?
I think the people, it's not just realtors. I mean, we're bringing it up, but people have to pay attention. And that's the purpose of this show, is to get the word out to the people. Exactly. That your property may be affected and you don't know it. And we need to be alert with the regulations, legislation that come out. We've got to stay alert to protect our own individual rights and interests.
All right. Well, that's the word. Well, Gina, we got about 20 seconds, so I'd like to give you the last word, please.
Well, I think we need to have better coordination and be more mindful of how these regulations impact the human beings I'm sure that this was meant to protect our culture, our indigenous plants, our the wildlife, but what about the humans that are supposed to be benefiting from all this?
Right.
Does it really serve their good? Does it provide for them? I think we need to take a pause and really consider how this impacts the people. And that's why we're bringing this up.
Well, certainly, we are just getting started with this issue. So we are going to conclude in that. Thank you for watching, everybody. And Liz and Gina, thank you as always for your time and for bringing this issue to light.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.